Okay, so we are starting lesson 2.3 today with slope, writing equations from the slope and things like that. Just a heads up, you do have a quiz after this lesson, so next class period, we have a review day and then a quiz, so make sure you're ready for that and doing that on the requested day for that. So looking off, this first part is just kind of a visual thing. So types of slope. We're going to just draw an example of each. So I'll give you a minute, use a pencil in case you mess up, okay, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, so hopefully you're checking your answer now. So positive slope, you really could have drawn wherever. I'm going to draw it with a y-intercept of 2. And I just remember that we read left to right for these, just like you read words. And I'll notice, okay, well, I don't know if you've seen before where they have the little slope guy. Well, he is going up if we went left to right. All right, a negative is just going to go down. So it doesn't mean it has to be over the negative side, although it could. It just means it's going down. All right, 0 is a flat line because then it has basically zero change, 0 elevation, steepness. All right, and then undefined is just a vertical line. So it's going down and up forever in both directions. All right, so writing equations when you are given the table. So you have to start, given the table, each row is like an XY coordinate, okay? So you want to think about that. We need to find our slope from that, looking at the change like we did in the first lesson. And the y-intercept, and sometimes that's given to you, sometimes you have to find it. So that y-intercept, remember, is the y value when x is equal to 0. So just a reminder, slope-intercept form is y equals mx. M is the slope, plus b. B is the y-intercept. Miss Robinson, our other teacher in algebra class, she has a little thing she likes to think. M for the slope, M is for move, so how do you move on that line, and B is for begin. So where you start and then where you move to. So I thought that was a nice little trick. Okay, number 1. So we first have to find that slope, that change. So I just start at the top, and I'm only going to look at my x values right now. So -1 to 0. Well, it went up, so I used positive, and it went up 1. And then check each one, because sometimes it's not going to be the same. We'll get to that too. So -1 to 0, again, it went up 1. 0 to 1, up 1. And 1 to 2, up 1. Okay? So now let's think about, so for slope, we want the change in the y over the change in the x. So in this case, my x change, because I looked at this, was 1. So I'm just going to put that on bottom so I don't forget. And I'll do y in green. All right, now we'll do the same thing but with the y. So you're trying to find that pattern. So 12 to 9, it actually went down this time, right? So down 3. Then 9 to 6, down 3 again. My arrows are a little off here, sorry. Then 6 to 3, went down 3. One more time. And that number goes on the top. So you can think of that -3 over 1 or -3. Either way. So I'm going to write that down here. -3 was my slope. Now B is, essentially it's a coordinate, okay? So you want to think when x is 0, what is the y? So, well, let's look at our table. Here, x is 0 on this line. So that means my y-intercept is 9. Now for the equation, I'm just plugging into this right here, okay? So y and x are always going to be in it. So I just kind of do a visual check. Do I have y? Do I have x? Okay. Now m, in this case, we found it, is -3. Keep the x there. And then b, or my y-intercept, is 9. So we didn't put -9, so when I'm putting this here, I want to make sure I add in a plus. All right, go ahead and take a pause on the video and try to do number 2 on your own now. Okay, so hopefully you've gotten at least this part started. So I looked at my x values and it went down 2 each time. So I'm using m for slope, and I put my x on bottom as -2. And then the y change, it looks like it's going up 10. So that goes on top. So remember, we need to write this in simplest form. Okay, so that means basically simplify your fraction. All right, so show me what you can divide each of those by. In this case, 2 will go into both of them. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and -2 divided by 2 is -1. So 5 over -1, or just -5. All right, now b, take a pause and see if you can find that. All right, so b is the y value when x is 0, so they did already give it to us right here. So b should equal 30. All right, now just plug into your equation. So y equals m is -5, and b was 30. Okay, now if you are given the graph and you need to write the equation, so a little bit different here. So you want to first find the slope like we talked about in lesson 1 from those 2 points. So you can pick any 2 points on the line to count that change. A lot of times we can draw this little triangle like they do to sort of just help us visualize that. Okay, so let's just start with that on this one. So read left to right, they picked this point and this point. So it went 1, 2, 3, 4 right. So I'm just gonna write that 4 right. And then we went 1, 2, 3 down. So 3 down. All right, so if I'm going to use m for slope, is the y change over the x change. All right, well, for my y change, is that going to be the right or the down? So I'm going to think about that. So y change is going to tell us up or down. So in this case, it was 3 down. So I want to represent that with -3. And then 4 right on the bottom for x is represented with positive. Right is positive, left is negative. Okay, so that's my m, but I'm not done. I have to have b as well. So that is defined, that is over here. So to find the y-intercept, find the point where the line touches or crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to put b equals. So this purple line that we have here on our graph, it crosses, so the y-axis, remember, is right here. All right, and then our line is crossing right here. So they're touching or intersecting at 5. So b equals 5. All right, and now I just plug into my equation. So again, my equation is y equals slope-intercept form, mx plus b. So I keep my y. For m, I'm going to put -3/4 x. 0.75 is the same as 3/4, but try to keep it in fraction form so it's simplest for graphing. And then our y-intercept was positive because I knew it was above this origin line, so I'm going to do +5. All right, so now on these bottom ones, we're just going to determine the slope and the y-intercept from each of them, just like we did on that example above. So I want you to take a pause on the video and try to find both the slope and the y-intercept, so the m and the b for 1 and 2 here. Okay, so for 1, again, you can pick any 2 points. So I want to pick this one, and I don't want to pick like this one because it's not evenly on the grid lines. So the next one I could pick that's nice and even would be this one. Okay, I read left to right, so I go 1, 2, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 right. I also like to do just a visual check. So already I know, looking at this line, it's going to be positive. okay, because it's going up. All right, now I can write y over x. So y was 3 up, so that's positive. X was 4 right, also positive. All right, now b, our y-intercept here, is right here where it crosses at that point, where it crosses that y-intercept. So that is -1. Okay, now plugging into my equation will be y equals 3/4 x minus 1. Okay, so for number 2, a few points you could pick. So I will say if you pick the ones closest together, you won't have to simplify your fraction. It should already be done. Well, it's like this one and this one, okay? And looking at this visually, I know, okay, it's a negative slope. I like to write that then so I don't forget, okay? Now left to right, I go down 2 and right 1. So that's -2. Because -2 over 1 simplifies to -2. All right, now B, so this line crosses that y-axis at that point, which is +2. Okay, so just take a quick minute and try to plug these into the equation. Make sure you understand how to do that part. Okay, hopefully you are checking your answer. So you should have y equals -2x plus 2. Okay, and that is all we have for today. Remember, make sure on your homework and things that you are showing all of your work so I can give you full credit, okay? And please message me if you have any questions. Have a good day.